Welcome to Munciana Courtside. Mike Lingenfelter here along with the guard dog, Randy Gardner.
This week we'll go ahead and on the past week highlights. Avon took down Westfield in 4. Any thoughts on that?
Avon being Avon. Westfield's still a little bit young in some key spots, but that's a good win for Avon, and Westfield's a quality opponent, so take that one and run with it. Scotty McQueen.
There you go. Crown Point in an upset over Valpo this week. They won 16-14 in Game 5.
That'll cost Valpo a little bit, I think. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
It's that time of year where people are going to pick you off. Everybody needs to start thinking about peaking, and Valpo's got to get re-engaged. But obviously, Crown Point always good athletes. That happens in rivalry matches, so yeah, I can see it.
Possibly a preview. You never know. We talked about that a little bit. Cathedral over Carmel in 5 this past week 15-10. Sounded like it was kind of back and forth. Both teams played well in certain sets, but fifth set was all Cathedral, sound like.
Everybody talks about in Indiana, they're talking about how Cathedral isn't what everybody said they were going to be. They're not the greatest team. They're vulnerable here. They're vulnerable there. We said they were vulnerable. Everybody's vulnerable. I mean, Penn State, they're running national. Everybody's vulnerable. I don't think it's about Cathedral not being as great as everybody said. I think Cathedral is great. Yeah. I think the fact of the matter is there's just a heck of a lot of good volleyball being played in the state of Indiana. Carmel being one of those teams. Carmel's good. Carmel's very good. Yeah. So that's a great match. And it's like I said last week, man, sectional time, region, it's going to be fun going down the stretch.
Yeah, no doubt. Past week we hit on the Delaware County tournament. We did get blown up by a few people, but it's always good. But Yorktown did end up taking home the Delaware County Championship, beating Delta in 3. Sounded like the first set was pretty close. And then your words?
All Yorktown. Roar, Tigers, roar. Scotty Murr, I love you. Thanks for the beatdown tweet for the bulletin board material. Todd Reed, kudos to Yorktown. That's man, what a great victory. What a great program, year in and year out. I don't know. I don't. Why in the hell did I pick Delta to beat them? I think I did that just to get with you. But I tell you what, all Yorktown does is win. And congrats, Delaware County champions again. Step Bloom and the gang. Kudos to you guys. Much love, Yorktown Tigers.
This next thing is kind of an interesting thing you're going to go on about it. Player of the week, I'll let you go ahead and hit on it.
Allison Roan, and I tell you, I love 104 kills in 5 matches. My girl Allie blowing it up, obviously at home tonight with an ice bag on her shoulder. This chick is killing it. 490 kills, number 3 in the state in kills. I talked last week about Ted Williams and the magic of hitting 400. Skip out on Ted Williams, my man. 489. This chick is killing almost every other ball. I mean, she's on fire. 489. Has 172 digs, 54 aces, 85 blocks. My girl, Allie Roan, exploding. And she's doing it all for the Calumet Christian School up in Cal City. We did a little research. We did a little research because I looked at this and said, my God, these stats are crazy. Calumet Christian, 36-1. Max Preps has them as the 47th best team in the state of Indiana, all classes. They're 84-4 in sets. I mean, these guys are just killing people. And here's the beauty. I asked my main man, Guard Dog, what class are these guys in? And some of you guys are out there going, who are these guys? We've never heard of them. They're not 4A. They're not 3A. Are they 2A?
Nope.
No. 1A?
Yeah.
No. But they are allowed to play against IHSAA teams. They're in the State Christian Conference. So we did a little bit of research. These cats have won 3 national championships. No one's heard of them. My girl Roan is now making noise. They've taken down, they're playing about a half-and-half schedule. They just took down Bishop Knoll last week. They're beating people. It's crazy. Half their school, half their team is made up of homeschoolers. There is a rule that allows homeschoolers to play high school sports. There's a young man, some of you may have heard of him, Tim Tebow. Timmy T. Tim Tebow was a homeschooler that was allowed to play public school. A lot of these kids had to make a choice. They could stay and play at Calumet Christian, or they could now go, because the state rural school, play for their local schools. Because the public schools, you can go to a public school and play as a homeschooler. You can't go to a private school. And Allison Rowe was one of those kids that could have made that choice to go play for a public school. And she's elected to stay and just collect national titles. These guys are doing beautiful things. Congratulations to Calumet Christian and my girl Allison Roan, blowing it up. Get some more ice on that shoulder. You got a little bit longer to play. National championship still on the horizon for my girls at Cal Chris.
Yeah, it was just a crazy thing. We looked up and spent about 30 minutes, 40 minutes looking at all of it. Next part, GearMunciana.com. We're going Catching Fire.
Oh, my God.
We're going to go ahead. You want to go 1A first?
Yeah. The Catching Fire, we were looking to see what schools out there that are on, you know, we could say the Providences or the Westdale, but I wanted to look at those schools that may be just off the edge, that could win a state title, but they're going to have to catch on fire. 1A, Christian Academy. Christian Academy, we really talked a little about for the first time last week. All they've done is play people tight. They beat 2A, a 2A power, Wapahani. They took a set from Providence. These guys are for real, but they're going to have to catch on fire in the last couple of weeks of the season. They got to hit it running. They've got Trinity Lutheran, who was a 2012 state finalist. They got Columbus East, who's still, you know, they've struggled a little bit lately, but still a big school power. They got Silver Creek, who's always competitive and is ranked in the top 20 in the 3A. Christian Academy, you need momentum, baby. You got to take those matches and hit it running going into the state championship if you're going to win it all, because Westdale, Bar Reef, and Indianapolis Lutheran have got a little something to say, and they're waiting for you. But Christian Academy, momentum.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be one of those two. Those guys at Bar Reef are probably your two favorites of the South. You got Westdale, Cowan sectional, but overall, I think they're the, if not the favorite, the secondary favorite.
And if they can hit this momentum, knocking down Trinity, Columbus East, Silver Creek, I think they could roll into sectional time and have a little bit of a mojo about them. I like them. I think that's what they're going to have to do if they're going to win it.
Yep. 2A.
2A, the guys that I think that have got to find a way to catch on fire, that are kind of on the fringe, Heritage Christian. Heritage Christian won their own tournament a couple weeks ago. They beat 2A Wapahani.
3A.
3A now. Crazy legacy. Scott Murrow will talk about the legacy, the legends or whatever the heck that rule is. But they took down some good teams. Heritage Christian Academy was in that tournament. Heritage Christian's really good. Heritage Christian needs confidence to get into the state championship. I mean, Providence dominating that division, but Heritage Christian needs confidence, and lo and behold, Cathedral is on your horizon, boys. And you got, I'm not saying you can beat a Cathedral, I'm not saying you have to beat a Cathedral, but you got to compete, because you know if you can compete point for point with the Cathedral, you can play. You can play for a 2A title.
No doubt. Let's go ahead and hit on 3A then.
3A is Concordia, 19-4, and you know they've kind of fallen off the radar a little bit. I think that the key for them, they got to find the groove, baby. They got to figure out what song they're gonna dance to. Still have Tiana Williams, who's one of the best players in the country, much less the state. They take on, seemingly in the next couple of weeks, every school in Fort Wayne. You know, I'm surprised they're not traveling up to play Calumet Christian School, but the big game for them, Fort Wayne Carroll. Fort Wayne Carroll's a real deal. And for Concordia to compete for a 3A title, they got to find the groove. And I think they can find the groove playing against all of those Fort Wayne teams. But to truly find the groove, they got to come out really. They got to go to war with Carroll.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they can't beat all the Fort Wayne teams, but you know, always being in that same kind of area. It's like the SEC playing each other. Yeah. You play everybody in Fort Wayne, they're going to give you your best match no matter what every day.
Great call. Great call.
4A.
They call me a groupie. Yorktown. You know, Yorktown they got all the ingredients, man. They got a little bit of experience here and there. They've got some youth that's really playing well. You know, Murr and Neal and some of those cats are just getting it going. You know, I tell you what, I think Yorktown to be able to make a legitimate run, and they're dangerous because of the defense they play. They're dangerous because of their discipline and their coaching. The key to them, they're going to have to finish strong. They got to finish really strong, and they've got some folks left that can give them kind of a springboard to getting into a state. These guys could legitimately play a state championship run in the next week and a half. They've got Newcastle still on there. Newcastle's down, but Newcastle's still Newcastle. They're still the reigning sectional champion. They've got Newcastle in the regular season. They got Carmel in the regular season. They got Delta in the regular season. They've got a tough regular season run that I think will get them ready for the tournament. If they can win those matches and finish strong, or really roll into those matches playing well, they got a sectional rematch with Newcastle again. They'll see Newcastle again in the sectional. So those 4 matches, Newcastle twice, Carmel and Delta, man, those guys roll through that. You know, we may be sitting there talking about playing for a state championship, not a Delaware County championship, and you know, those guys, they can play.
Yeah, and another thing you hit on, definitely, Yorktown's kind of the new Muncie Burris of Delaware County. They don't make mistakes. You know, I remember you talking about Steve. He's just so disciplined with his kids in Muncie Burris, and Blue does the same thing with those guys. They don't give up the easy point. They just fight till the point that you guys make your own mistakes.
Yeah, don't get him wrong about the new Muncie Burris thing. Yorktown's the first. They're the Yorktown. They're, you know what? I agree. I just don't want to get any hate. I just don't want any hate. But I think Yorktown's the pride and joy right now of the county. And we tried to stir things up last week. Got swatted in the mouth. And you know, I think that if they finish strong with those matches, and you know, to give those guys some momentum, it could be enjoyable. It could be interesting.
All right, we're gonna hit the top 10 courtside. Let's go ahead. You want to hit some honorable mentions?
Yeah, I like Yorktown at 24-4, right on the cusp of being where they need to be. This next week could really blow that wide open. Fort Wayne Carroll, we talked about 21-2. They're just good. They've been consistent all year long. I think they're in the hunt. I think Brownsburg. You know, Brownsburg's 17-5, but there's still something about those guys that I like. You know, Christian Academy's got to throw them some love. I don't know if they're quite where they need to be yet, a little small. West Delaware can throw them some love, but still a little small. But I like those 3 teams. Yorktown, Carroll, and Brownsburg is my honorable mention.
And Brownsburg's got a big game this week. It's Roncalli, which we hit on a little bit. And Fort Wayne Carroll, 5 great wins this past week. I mean, they beat Plymouth, they beat Elkhart Memorial, past top 10 team. They're doing a decent job heading into the postseason. Like we're talking about catching on a little bit of fire.
I agree.
All right, let's go ahead number 10.
Well, I like the courtside top 10 this week. We didn't have a whole lot of movement, unlike the NCAA football this weekend, where everybody in the top 10 lost. There were only 2 losses in about 60 matches, seemingly, out of these guys. Get 2 losses, and no bad losses by all these teams. My number 10 is Valpo. We hit on them losing to Crown Point in a tough 5-gamer. They go 1-1 in a week? Beat a Michigan City team, but Valpo's still up there, 23. That's an awesome number.
Not too bad. Number 9.
Mishawaka Meridian, and
I think they could possibly fly up the charts with the streak they got going now. 20 straight. 20
consecutive match win streak, 6-0 this week. Whenever you win 6 matches in a week,
not a bad week.
I'm just happy to wake up 6 times a week. Much as I said, you know, and that's giving up. If I can wake up every morning, I'm pretty content. And these guys are winning almost every day. 20 straight matches, 25-2. I'm telling you, I said last week, as well a coach team as there is in the state of Indiana, they're playing, they are hot. You people may want to watch out for them.
You know, when they played Carmel early in the year, I had a big one over those guys. So
they're good.
They're nothing to be messing around with. Number 8.
Perry Meridian. You know, they've lost more than anybody else in our top 10. But I just like this team. You know, I like a lot of what they're doing. You know, they take down an Upper Buff team that was previously ranked. They beat Speedway, who had our player of the week last week. You know, I like Perry Meridian, and I've said all along, they're a team that's really starting to form an identity, well coached, well set. You know, my girl Riley continues to blow it up as a
Yeah,
center.
and
I like him. I like him.
really, what is interesting about those guys is a majority of that team is almost all juniors. So next year will be a really great
They're
year.
going to make some noise.
Yeah. Number 7.
Floyd Central, you know, they had a perfect week. Like I've said 1,000 times. Once again, I think the key's late in the season. I think the coaching experience is critical to have a late season run. I think the quality of your center is another big thing that you have to have. These guys have both of those. They have great setting, and Bart Powell's as good a coach as the state's ever had. Not just this year, ever.
Yep.
He's a great coach.
Yep. Let's go ahead to number 6. They're 67th in the country.
Yeah, I love this. The rest of the way in, we got guys that are big time in the country. Center Grove, 22-2. You know, and they're the 6th best team. They're 67th best team in the country, the 6th best team in our poll. We talked about it. They've got to, if they handle the ball on the right days, if everything lines up, they can win this whole thing. They're good. They're very good. But 6th this week.
Yep. Number 5, 84th in the country.
Carmel, you know, they beat a good Chittard team. Nick Wolf does a great job coaching that group, and lost to Cathedral. But, you know, 84th best team in the country, 19-6. And, you know, I like what they do. Like I said, Carly Scott and the gang just continue to blow it up. And they're there. They dropped one spot with that loss. So.
Yeah. Number 4, I think these guys are really underrated in the country. I don't know how you don't have these guys. I mean, all they do is win the past couple of years. And not so bad.
Underrated. I thought they were ranked in the nation. That I didn't note that.
Yep.
But Avon's playing good ball. You know, and anytime you play them, you better be aware of the fact that you know you can't serve them. One of the keys with some of these teams is with great service pressure, you can kind of dictate the flow of the match. With these guys, as long as the ball is passed up in the air and stays in the confines of the court, the setter is improving every week. The Goins kid is improving every week, and they're going to get a swing on the pin. And those two kids I've talked about are, you know, there's a whole lot of people I'd rather have swinging at me than those two cats. And I'm telling you, they're dangerous. Scotty's group moves up a spot this week. They're number 4.
Yep. Number 3, 31 in the country.
Number 31 in the nation, the Irish. Cathedral, still hovering there, and it's all they're doing is winning right now. And I tell you, Gene is getting that team in form. They took down a good Carmel and a good Westfield this week. They're going to continue to bite off quality competition as they move towards the end. Man, I tell you what, it's really crazy to keep them at 3, but no one's losing. So I have no reason to move anybody down. But I love what they're doing, and they're starting to hit their stride.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to hit on. Cathedral, I watched them against Westfield. The first 2 sets, I told you, the next day, they were lights out. Passed the ball, unbelievable. Middles were killing people. And it wasn't that Westfield was bad. It was just Cathedral was that much better. You know, and then Westfield took the 3rd set, and they came back down to reality. But I'll tell you what, the first 2 sets, I would go out on a limb and tell you, I don't think anybody beats them the first 2 sets.
Well, I've talked all year long about the bookend left side hitters for Avon and how spectacular they are and how lucky Scott is to have them at the high school level. The best 2 middles, combined middles in the state of Indiana are Wiley and Adams at Cathedral. The only difference between having great left side hitters and great middles, great left sides you can attack from anywhere. I mean, the pass doesn't dictate whether they're going to be relevant in that match. Middles, you have to have a good pass to run the middle of the court. And so what happens when Cathedral is great, and they've been great at times, when Cathedral is great is when the ball handlers are taking care of the ball and putting it in Shore's hands where she can run that middle. So saying that, if Cathedral passes the ball, if they can take care of the ball for the rest of the season, they're raising the banner. They're raising the banner.
Number 2, number 25 in the country.
Roncalli. You know, like I said a couple weeks ago, they probably have handled the ball as well as anybody. I love their setting. Their little pro I talked about, I thought that she was fantastic. You know, Bailey and AJ, you know, Snell and Louds, those kids are as good as anybody in the state. I mean, they're just great players. When they tell you, if they can get it all going in one direction, they're a competitor. They're a competitor, and they're going to compete for a title. They're good. They're number 2 this week, but they're good.
And we go back to the number 1, 24th in the country.
And you know, it's interesting that they're ranked the highest of all of our teams in the nation now, and subsequently were picked on our show as the number 1. So once they went to number 1 on our show, they moved up on the radar.
It's good to Tyler listen.
Not saying that the prep volleyball guys are following our lead, but I will take Providence. You know, they took down the before mentioned Christian Academy group. They took down Jeffersonville, took down Brownstown Central. All they did this week is win. All they've done all year long is win. All they've done since Terry's been there is win. Parika's squad, number 1 in the state, and still the dominant force in 3A, but still the number 1 team in the state of Indiana, in my book.
Yep. Last 2 things. Games of the week. We'll go with Monday's big showdown. Carmel, 19-7 versus Yorktown, 21-5. I'm going to go ahead and let him say, I'm taking Yorktown. I'm going upset. In some people's eyes, I'm going Yorktown, riding high off the Delaware County. Scott Murr, I'm going with the squad.
Oh, what a jackass. I know why this came on here, just because we got blown up. You know, I can't even walk the streets of Yorktown without getting abused now for the Delaware County pick. Gosh. Start sending your hate mail now. You know where I live, most of you, just buy eggs, do whatever you got to do to my house. Don't have a lot of trees, but pay TP whatever I've got. I go Carmel in a very good match. I hate taking offense over defense because I'm a defense guy. I go Carmel in that match in 5.
The only other game we got in the week, we're going to go Tuesday. Brownsburg, 17-5 versus Roncalli at 20-2. I'm going to go with Roncalli. They're at home, and like I said, I think they're, and something you hit on, they're one of the best teams in the country. I think Brownsburg is very good, but I'm going Roncalli.
Well, it's way to go out on a limb there.
That one I'm not.
Yeah, that would have been nice to finish with the Yorktown. As the producer of this show, you should have gone with the controversy to end. But, you know, Roncalli guys, if you guys could start sending me some kind of nice stuff just to balance out the hate mail I'm going to get this week, I'd appreciate it. I love Brownsburg. I've said all year long I really like what they're starting to do down there. But too much. Roncalli's too much. I think Roncalli runs that show, and they may get out of there quick. They're very, very good. If they're on their game, only 2 teams in the state can beat them.
Yep. Yeah. That's all we got this week.
Well, I love you. Thanks for throwing me under the bus again. Yorktown, I do love you. I was just kidding about the eggs and toilet paper. I'm not really good at cleaning stuff up, but good luck to everybody in the state this week, and thanks for joining us.
See you guys.